Ugh!
I did warn you.
Yeah, you did. Still.
Helium juice tastes refreshing to Andorians in such high-temperature environments as most starships.
The captain of the Jefferson is Andorian. When he had junior officers over for dinner, we all adjusted our thermals.
Very wise, but there are limits. I've theorized that a comparable situation might be if you were stationed aboard a ship crewed almost exclusively by Vulcans. After a month or so, you might even start craving helium juice.
Honestly, I hope that never happens.
Here, touch my hand.
Somehow I expected Andorian skin to be colder. Instead, you feel like a cool breeze.
My body temperature is actually below average at the moment, compensating for the heat of Earth normal. You feel like a heated blanket.
Thank you.
May I ask you about something personal?
Please.
Captain Esther Stiles of USS Skyview. Your aunt, I believe?
Yes.
What do you think the odds are of her survival?
Low.
Have you lost others close to you?
I remember my mother's shock when news of the Hobus supernova came. She screamed and wept and became silent for a time.
Has she returned to what you remember of her before?
No, not really. She's not depressed so much, but there's an edge added. And another missing, if that makes any sense.
Zachary, how much do you know about the Airheim?
Some kind of Andorian colony ship that malfunctioned and wandered into an ion storm?
The warp drive no longer functioned. Deflectors inoperative. Shields functioned, but flickered in and out. We drifted for weeks until an Orion cargo ship rescued the survivors. Out of 1,879.
I'm sorry.
11 more died before we reached a Rigelian colony.
You and my mother might have something to talk about.
Maybe one day we will. But at present, I urge you to think on Ensign Vanel. She is a telepath, one who experienced the sudden death of the man she must have thought of as her father. Now she's learned her homeworld has suffered a plague, and she herself barely survived that same plague. She will not be the same.
My father always told me we are tempered by life's injustices. My mother wasn't broken, and I don't believe Vanel will be either. I think it helps that she has someone in her life like Athena. My mother found some cousins of hers alive in the Romulan Free State. That helped her. We needn't be alone. That's my point.
Exactly so.
I hope you had someone.
Sometimes.
We have completed 45% of our journey to the Helios Nebula. The scanner suite, while not in use by the dedicated computer core, continues to gather vast amounts of data about the Gulf as well as the Perseus arm itself, one of which is rather surprising.
Go on.
I thought Mr. Sarij would like to tell you this bit himself.
Not being as dumb as a Gardak egg, I don't want to do your job as well as mine.
As you wish. Quite simply, Captain, scans of the Perseus arm reveal a lower incidence in warp fields than we would expect, given typical population densities and technological expectations. In fact, further analysis of long-term scans indicate this change, this steady decrease in the number of warp fields, goes back 2 decades.
But no one noticed this before now?
We have way more data now. We can put together into a cohesive model. The Perseus arm shows fully 3% decrease in the number of warp fields we should expect, even based on the most recent figures. And those figures are almost 9% below what they should be over the past couple of decades.
Theories?
Hundreds. Everything from something wrong with our systems to a widespread use of some new cloaking tech, a steady decline in interstellar trade, a looming threat the races of the Perseus arm perceive that we don't, some multi-species movement for greater self-sufficiency. Take your pick.
Which ones do you, my first and second officers, find most persuasive?
Occam's razor suggests some kind of widespread decrease in interstellar travel. cause unknown, although socio-economic reasons seem most likely.
We should wait and find out more before deciding anything is more or less likely. Otherwise, we're just guessing. Or he is, anyway.
We have 2 more weeks before reaching the last known position of the Skyview. Keep me updated.
If I may make a suggestion.
You may.
This about a new chief of security?
Lieutenant Stiles served as Assistant Chief of Security for a full year on the Jefferson. This means he's had a much longer stint in that position than our current Assistant Chief.
I will keep that detail in mind, Lieutenant Commander. Dismissed.
Bon.
Sarij, remain for a moment.
Nobody expected Solok to go dying on us.
Granted, but he was to fully train our green recruits.
Best of the best green recruits. Jovan's right, though. The Styles boy has more experience.
But for all practical purposes, this would be a demotion.
Not officially.
It would feel that way to a human.
Humans need to grow up.
You say the same thing about Vulcans.
Andorians, too. And Trill. Come to think of it, Klingons, Ferengi, Cardassians, Orions, Bajorans, Bolians, Ephosians, the Binars, Caitians.
Tellarites as well?
Damn right.
So, early, I see.
It was her idea.
Yeah, I guess you weren't finished straightening up your quarters? Took you forever to answer, but there was no need.
Or maybe there was.
Come on in. Vanelle is changing into her civvies.
Merci, want to give my gift to you both.
Thank you.
How is she? Fully recovered?
Physically, yes.
And mentally?
It is a process.
What isn't?
Quarters on these ships are so nice, aren't they? The old crew complained about where they had to stay at the Antares fleet yards. Well, makes sense. We're gonna be in them for a long time, right?
True enough.
How many of the crew were with Captain Talar before, do you know?
4 or 5 dozen at least. Commander Sarge, of course. They began serving together on the Cherokee. The late Lieutenant Salak, he was actually pretty charming for a Vulcan.
Like Vanelle?
Oh, most of the medical staff as well.
Probably the reason Zaak isn't with us tonight.
Plus, half the engineering staff about, close to anyway, but not Commander Juvan. He was assigned about the same time I was.
What about the captain's career? I suppose you know all about that.
Some. You know she's a famous composer.
No.
Oh yeah, she was well known before she joined Starfleet. That's probably something she and Sarij have in common. Haven't you ever heard of Tellarite lecture songs?
No.
Is an old tradition, a way of teaching that discourages debate until the essential lesson has been told. Because, well, the only thing they hate worse than not debating is interrupting music. That's how Commander Sarge told me he met Garadar, in a class learning how to make a lecture song. Oh, Vanelle, how pretty!
I think so too. But then I'm biased.
You know, when I was petite, Vulcan style was all the fashion on New Paris. All those flared shoulders and high collars and calligraphy. I still miss those.
Thank you.
Attention all hands. Prepare for slipstream. We have received a distress call from our sister ship USS Cassandra. The message was interrupted without warning. Under the circumstances, we must assume the worst. Repeat, prepare for slipstream. Prepare for slipstream.